Walt, he never does this.
No, he never has before. Eh?
It's on.
No, because the damn neighbors are moving. There's one of your pins, Marty, over here.
Oh, I've got the other one by my
Camera's
glasses.
running.
Is it?
Yes.
No.
Hey everyone, thanks for coming back and watching another segment of Michigan Conservative Roundtable. And just recently, Mueller report came out, and we just kind of wanted to share our thoughts as to the report, events leading up to the report, what we feel some of the intent was, and kind of where we're going at this point now. If you've been paying attention to the news, you hear how it clears Trump of collusion. But it does not clear him of obstruction. And when I first heard that, the first thing that came to mind is, are we now a third world banana republic where there is no presumption of innocence? I mean, he didn't prove that he didn't obstruct, so he had to have obstructed. And from what I understand, there are 10 or 11 points of conduct that he did that are portraying him as less favorable, perhaps. But here's the thing, and this is what we want to get to, is our thoughts on what the intent of the report. And you know what, when you say report, you might as well just say Mueller investigation too. All right. When you consider as to the intent behind this, then you kind of understand why maybe Trump ranted or said what he said. He's human just like we are, okay? It's pretty much suspected that what they tried was a soft coup, all right? So where did this kind of start? Well, you can go back to when Trump was running for president, and there was the suspicion, this is not confirmed, but there is a suspicion that they had already started monitoring Trump, prompting him to move his headquarters from the Trump Tower to one of his golf courses. They come out with the Steele dossier, kind of in hopes of so smearing Trump that it helps Hillary win the election. But then when Trump wins the election, well, we can still use the Steele dossier to somehow say that he colluded with the Russians. And then the word comes out that the Steele dossier was paid for from a law firm employed by Hillary Clinton. So we just kind of wanted to go over some of our thoughts on this whole quagmire. And anyone want to jump in here?
Sure, I'll jump in. In the Strzok Lisa Page text, the term insurance policy is used quite often. And you have to ask yourself, what were they insuring? They were insuring the fact that Hillary Clinton was going to be exonerated, even though Pete Comey sat there in front of Trey Gowdy and said she lied, she lied, she lied, she lied, she was untruthful, she lied, so on and so forth, time and time and time after again. But yet, then he says, well, we don't think her intent was bad. That's just a bunch of garbage. So they needed an insurance policy in case she didn't win. And so, which brings me to the idea, well, all right, so she didn't win. That doesn't mean, that if they are able to knock him out, somehow she gets anything. And what would they get but Mike Pence? Yeah. I know there was some idiot out there, some woman, congressman, who thought that if they got rid of Trump, they could get rid of Pence, and then Paul Ryan would become Speaker of the House and they would have a runoff election. I thought to myself, well, that's not how that works, honey.
No.
If Mike Pence became president, he would pick a new vice president, and that person would become president. And if they got rid of that person, the person previous would pick another vice president. It's very hard to get to the Speaker of the House unless the president and the vice president or removed from office simultaneously. That wasn't going to happen.
No, that wasn't going to happen. The thing that, well, there's two things that really grate me about the whole thing. The first is that, okay, if there was no collusion, then there was no crime. And if there's no crime, how can there be obstruction? You're not obstructing justice when no crime occurred. And that's a question I'd like to have answered. And it kind of leads to my second point, is that the Democrats really need to let this go. They really need to let this go. The report came out, the Mueller report came out, Trump was pretty much exonerated. Now you want to see more of the report, now you want to subpoena people on the report. We just went through 2 years of this. 2 years of this.
4 investigations.
Yeah, 4 investigations. This is over with, people. This is done. And I believe even, I don't want to say it was Nancy Pelosi because I don't want to give her too much credit, but there are a couple of Democrats that are even beginning to say, look, we're too close to the 2020 election. Just drop it. Let's get beyond this
Well,
ourselves.
it looks like what it is. It's a persecution, not a prosecution.
Exactly.
I'll give you an example of how you can obstruct justice. If I didn't commit a crime, but the Oakland County prosecutor decides that he's going to investigate me, and even though I know I haven't done anything, and I go to a judge and say, your judge, here's $1,000, make this go away, I'm guilty of obstruction of justice.
Okay.
So that's how it's possible.
That makes
or
sense.
if
That
I
makes sense, yeah.
try to drive the investigating police officer off the road. In your ditch.
I also have a theory,
That's
by
how
the
it's
way. I
possible.
also have a theory. The Steele dossier comes out. Everyone knows it's garbage. Everyone knows it's garbage. But they use it to justify the Mueller investigation. And if you've listened to talk radio, you've heard this said by Rush and others for sure. This was an investigation in search of a crime. I think Democrats and establishment Republicans thought that surely, under the guise of investigating collusion, they're going to find some sort of dirt on Trump. And I'm amazed. I'm amazed that they didn't. I mean,
It was such a broad scope.
You can accuse him of ruthless business practices, perhaps, but when did that become a punishable crime?
Now that you
You know?
mention it, there are so many laws anymore.
It's hard not to step on them.
Everybody's guilty of something.
And he used Cohen as the fixer and everything else, and surely Cohen's got something on Trump, and so through the Mueller investigation, maybe we can put leverage. And I heard on the radio just the other day that Mueller. I don't want to say Mueller did it, but someone on the Mueller team told Papadopoulos' wife that she needed to divorce him because he was going down, because they were trying to turn Papadopoulos on Trump in this whole investigation process.
That's part of the process, is that you go after people who are around the president, and try Roger Stone, Cohen, who's a scumbag. He was always a scumbag, and I'm disappointed that Trump would associate himself with such a scumbag. But if we can investigate Marty with no warrants as part of a broader investigation to turn him against me, so I turn on you.
Yeah, and
It's a violation of the Fourth and Fifth Amendments.
I think the theory was Trump might know what his embarrassing secrets are, and in an effort to keep those from coming to light, that would somehow obstruct this investigation into collusion. That's always been my theory and concern, really.
Well, they've known all along there was no collusion. This was all a setup, and it really makes me wonder. First off, what did Barack Obama know about all this? I mean, Loretta Lynch looks as dirty as she can be, meeting with Hillary Clinton Hillary and Bill on the tarmac in L.A.
Yeah, but the Clintons can't be touched. The Clintons themselves have made it clear, you better not touch us. And I think that's something that's got to change. I wouldn't be shocked if this all comes back to President Obama and the Clintons.
And I'm going to venture into the danger zone here. It does appear that John McCain saw the Steele dossier before Trump knew it existed, en route to it making its way to Comey. Okay, and that's why I say the establishment Republican, and this goes back to the whole election phase of this stuff. The establishment Republicans didn't like how Trump treated Jeb Bush, Kasich, and any other of the establishment Republicans that were in the primary. And well, because Trump's a winner, Trump will come out swinging hard as he can. Well, you know what? Since you're not going to let our guy be the next in line, hey, we'll help the Democrats get you. I mean, that's really how I see this. That's really how I see it.
You know what?
We'll help the Democrats
get you. It makes a certain sense, yeah.
I know these people are petty. Oh, and you said something about me and it hurt my feelings. But this seems like more than that to me. And I think they've got their way of doing things, and they don't want anybody from the outside, which Donald Trump is. He's not your typical candidate or politician. So they have something going on here they don't want anybody messing with. Barack Obama doesn't leave Washington. He gets a place nearby. John Kerry is roaming around acting like he's still Secretary of State. I used to hear people years ago say, oh, there's a shadow government. And I thought, just go put your tinfoil hat back on and, watch, the JFK conspiracy theory. And I know this gets some comments, but sorry, it was Lee Harvey Oswald. He did it because he wanted to, and he had the means, the opportunity, and nobody stopped him.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. But you know what? I used to think this was all nutcase talk. But there is clearly a deep state. You have people who are operating in their interest, not our interest.
The very fact that you have a bureaucracy means you're going to have a deep state, quite frankly.
Yeah.
When government gets as big and as huge as ours has gotten, and as England has gotten, and French has gotten, and Russia's has gotten, you're going to have a deep state. Because you've got tens of thousands of people that have their own interests at heart first, rather than the interest of the entire nation. Whether it's getting their guy elected president, whether it's keeping their bureau well funded, whatever. When a government's this big, there's going to be a deep state.
Well, they mention now that perhaps the British were involved in this spying, that they assisted them. I'll tell you what, until I hear a confession and an apology from Theresa May, I'd cut off all funding to Great Britain.
Australia was involved too, I think.
Them too. Anybody that was involved in this, until they fess up.
Yeah, because it involved an ambassador meeting with and either Papadopoulos or the other guy, and I forget the other guy's name. And supposedly Papadopoulos said, yeah, the word is that there's email that's less flattering about Hillary and the Democrat Party. This guy turns around, goes to the FBI, but then you find out that the FBI coached them to get with the guy to basically coach it out of Papadopoulos. It just turns into a round robin of nonsense, really.
But you're talking about Britain, the United States, Australia, and God knows who else. So now you're starting to talk about a global thing. So why could they just not let him be president, like we let Barack Obama be president? I didn't think, well, he lost the election, damn it, we got to get him out of there, we have to overthrow the government. You find some dirt on him, all that birther
I put
stuff.
on my big boy pants the day after he was elected and went to work.
I didn't like it.
That's what you do.
I didn't like it. But
didn't
you know
like
what?
it at all.
I didn't say he was a racist. I didn't say the world was going to come to an end. I think he did some severe damage to race relations in this country. But there's more to this that we're going to learn, I hope. I know a lot of people on my Facebook friends think that they post it almost every day. Oh, Hillary and Barack Obama are going to be executed for treason. I'll drop over dead if that happens. Out of disbelief. These people are going to skate. They're going to get away with it. And if they get away with it, they're going to do it again.
Well, that's why it's so important. Our new Attorney General, Barr, he does appear to be a man of integrity, and I think he's got these same insiders and the swamp insiders. I think he's got them scared right now.
Yep.
Yep.
I think because of their involvement in the Mueller report / investigation. I mean, do we not recall how a week or so ago Barr says in the House of Representatives, the Trump campaign was spied on, and they said, "What? You don't mean spy?" And he goes, "Yeah, they were spied on. We just need to feel," and he uses the word predicated. Okay, so there was surveillance, and you know what does FISA stand for? Something international surveillance act or something. You know, you know what the S stands for federal in. The S stands for surveillance in FISA. Okay, so of course he's being surveilled, but we don't call it spying. You know.
Well, splitting hairs.
So you know, hopefully Barr gets to the bottom of it, and that's all I've got.
Just so I'm clear, if Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Page, Strzok, Comey, if they're found to have attempted to overthrow this government, McCabe, they do need
Clapper.
to hang and be executed so that this never happens again. I can't think of a better picture as a deterrent than to see Hillary Clinton swinging from a rope.
Well, treason is the only crime in the Constitution.
All right. Anything else, gentlemen?
I think that.
About it.
All right. I think we've ranted. All right. As we say here on the Michigan Conservatives Roundtable, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.